Ready, Vinny?
I am. Yesterday was a pretty physical day.
Yep.
There was some actual tackling to the ground. Felt like you were trying to set a tone. Just wondering if that was kind of the whole intent.
It's really the same thing we did last year on the first day. You have to, there's pros and cons of that. You make a decision on, whether or not you're going to do a little bit of that. We thought for our young players, especially, having an opportunity to actually, not have to worry about necessarily like restrictions and all that might be a better way for them to start, getting acclimated a little bit where, okay, I'm not going to get yelled at if I end up on the ground here. So it was good for us to be able to put some plays on tape and be able to coach off of that. But we have few opportunities to get into pads and work all the techniques and fundamentals that we need with contact that obviously everybody's going to need to do well to be a good football team. So we'll try to see if we can't string another day together today.
Young players. Trey Tucker seems to show up quite a bit in a lot of different ways. What are your impressions so far of Trey?
Yeah, very mature guy, very bright. His talent, I think is, everybody saw that, coming out in the draft, and but he's a very good fit relative to our group, and he learns very quickly, and I think that's a really good trait to have for a young player. He's not a big air repeater. He can take something, a correction, and then try to, make that correction show up on the field the next opportunity that he has. Like every young player, he'll make some mistakes. He's still got a long way to go, but, relative to the way he goes about his business, that mature, intelligent approach, really works at it, tries to make sure he takes the corrections to heart, and then implement them in his game. I think he's been great to work with. Really excited about, continuing to do that.
Yesterday we saw Brandon Faison go down with some sort of injury. Do you have any update to his status?
Nope. He won't be out there today, Deshaun. That's all. I don't. Again, it's nothing. That's going to be. I don't think it's going to be too long term, but he won't be out there today.
Are there intangibles that we don't see that make Zamir good?
I think every position has intangibles that are hard to see. But I think, just his run skill and innate ability to, see things when he has the ball, find, lanes, cutbacks, when he's supposed to bounce, when he's not, when he's supposed to go ahead and tuck it in there, make some hard yards. And I'd say just overall his ability to go forward on contact. I've always been impressed with runners that do that. I've been around a number of guys that, when they hit you, there's going to be a +2 added on to the run. And Zamir, that's how he ran in college. And, so far that's how we've seen him run, mostly in practice. He didn't have a lot of opportunity last year, obviously because of Josh. So, just looking forward to, continue to work with him. But he's putting in a lot of time and effort into trying to be a complete player, not just a guy that has the ball and can do something with it. He wants to be good in blitz pickup. He wants to improve in the passing game. And all those things are part of, a young back's progression. And so he's really working at all those phases.
Josh, obviously the NFL is a business, but this game is played best when guys are having fun doing it. Mm-hmm. And they've talked about last year, it's just trying to learn, and this year they're having a lot more fun. Do you notice it, and how much better does that make the Raiders?
Yeah, you definitely notice it. And I think that we all, the very first year, there's so much time spent on, figuring out the what, and teaching the what and learning the what and what does this word mean to me. And while you're going through that, there's inherently going to be, a few more mistakes here and there because not everybody knows what it is. And so I think as the time has gone on here and we're into year 2, we've gone through the spring, we're into training camp, I think there's a lot less questions about that. We've tried to streamline some things to help that process, which always is a good thing for the coaching staff to do. Like, hey, we struggle with this. Let's make that simpler or throw it out. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, you're right, Hondo, this is a fun game. That's why we all play and coach in it. It's a tough game, but the more we can understand what we're doing, what we're being asked to do, the more at peace we feel, the less stress we have going to the field, being concerned about things like that, the more your personality can show. And you can start to engage and have some fun with it, and we've encouraged that too. Our success in practice should be celebrated. It's a hard game. It's hard to make good plays in this league. There's a good player across from you a lot of the times. Most of the times when we play, that's what happens, so he's going to make a few good plays and you're going to try to make one more than he does. And so when we make them, we want our guys to have excitement, enthusiasm, energy, and I think that makes our team better. So these are the dog days of camp, and sometimes it gets, it's a slugfest out there sometimes. But soon enough there'll be a different color jersey out there for us to do some of that stuff against, and that's another phase of the bonding progression that we'll go through. Is now we're not going against each other, we're going against somebody else, and then you can support the other side of the ball instead of competing against them. So I notice it, I feel it, I think our team does too, and I think I'm eager to see how that manifests itself during the regular season.
Are there any updates on Tyree Wilson and Neil Farrell? Are they on closer to getting back?
They are, day by day. So it'll again. I think both guys are doing a great job of everything they're being asked to do, which is great. They're in every meeting. They're paying attention. They're studying. They're doing all the things that they can do at this point while they're getting closer to returning. So nothing. Same thing with Byron. They're all in the same boat. So as soon as they're ready, they'll be out there. You know what I mean? And again, I can't say enough about the way that our training staff's working, about the way they're working to get out there. They want to be out there. They're itching, and like I said, as soon as they're ready to go, they're going to be out there.
Coach, whether it's practice or whether it's training practice or a game, Max Crosby always plays with high energy, high motor all the time. How great is it to have a player like that just never keeps churning, and how much do you think that makes his teammates better with the amount of effort he puts in?
Yeah, you'd love to have 90, that are like that. You know what I mean? And I think we have a lot of guys. Every one of our guys works hard. He just has an innate ability to bring it at the same level on every play, every day, regardless of what the day means. And so shells, helmets, pads. Now he's not hitting anybody when he's not in pads or anything like that. But his effort, the way he works. How early he gets here, how much time he puts in. He's an incredible example. We're all blessed that we're around him because I've been in the league for a little while, and you see a few guys that come into your organization that are like that, and they're rare, they're unique, and so I really appreciate the time that we have, together with him, and I think our team appreciates, what he brings to this organization and to the field every day, to his job, and so. There's no better example than what he does to try to help the Raiders win. And so if everybody sees that and can try to, sprinkle a little bit of that into their game, into their daily routine, we would all be better for it. So we saw that yesterday.
Yeah,
Michael Mayer certainly did.
I was going to bring that up. Sorry to interrupt there.
That's okay.
But he was
It's
kind of on
been
the
brought
wrong
up.
side of that a little bit. But
Yeah.
he kept getting up.
Sure did.
Never backed down one time.
Sure did.
Is that a learning lesson for him?
Absolutely, and it wasn't a bad lesson. It's just, it's his first day in pads in the National Football League. There's a baptism sometimes that happens. It is what it is. And so we all learn hard lessons in this league, and but the hard ones are sometimes the best ones. And so he had a great attitude yesterday about, just seeing the things that he wasn't doing right. And that's why we were so excited about having him here and being able to draft him. Right mindset, tough, no back down, learned it's different. You know what I mean? It can be different for different people depending on who you're playing against. So he, he'll be better today because of what happened yesterday. And that's what Max wants. Max wants him to be better and to compete as much as he can, as hard as he can on every play.
Just go ahead, Deshaun.
So usually tight end is a position where it takes rookies a while to figure out the blocking piece. From your career, why do you think it usually takes some time to pick that up?
I think sometimes that's more dependent on what they were asked to do in college than the difference between doing it at college and doing it in the NFL. some tight ends aren't required or asked to do that as much in college based on the offensive system they come from. That's why that's a little bit of a there's some guesswork sometimes when you don't see the guy in line much in college football to what that would ultimately look like and become if you asked them to do some of that in the NFL. So that's a piece of it. I think the second piece is just, the guys that you're playing against are, a little bigger, a little faster, a little stronger, more proficient with their technique, their hands, their feet, and all the little tiny mistakes that you might be able to get away with in college football, depending on who you're playing against. Those become, those get exposed pretty quickly in the NFL. So, I kind of assimilate it to a running backs, in terms of handling blitzes and blocking blitzers and all the rest of it. Sometimes they look like a little bit of a fish out of water too, but some of the very best ones that I've ever been around started that exact same way, worked at it, developed the opportunities through opportunities, got better, and then ultimately were some of the best players that I've ever coached in the backfield doing that same thing at tight end. So it's work, and it's, like I said, it's a little bit new based on what we're asking some of them to do than maybe what they did in college.
In that same tight end room, you guys moved on from O.J. Howard yesterday. I guess what went into that decision?
Just, looking at it from the totality, and those are hard decisions. We've talked a lot about that. He's a guy who's played in this league and done some good things, and just, didn't feel like it was going to end up working out here, and just wanted to, if he's going to have an opportunity to make it somewhere else, doing the right thing there, and brought Jacob Hollister back in. We re-signed Jacob Hollister. So, there's a lot of things that go into that, kicking game, et cetera. But OJ did everything we asked him to do here. He's a great teammate, and wish him the best.
Hondo market cue.
Going back to what they talked about Mayer and Max. Yesterday, again, I don't know your script, but it looked like Devontae's out there, looked like somebody had either missed an opportunity to rep or they were waiting, and Jacorian jumped in. He wanted it. And it was expected outcome, a rookie versus Devontae. But walking back, he's just listening to Devontae coaching. When you watch tape of rookies, are you looking for that kind of stuff, that competitive, I'll take any extra rep I can get, and then go into Devontae for coaching?
Yeah, I think, look, they know who they're going up against one way or the other, and I think the more eager they are to try to take reps and improve, I think that says something about them. We all see the guy. We tell them all the time, like we can see on the film if you're hiding too. You know what I mean? Because you can see the whole line. You know what I mean? If you're way in the back and not getting any reps, which we're fortunate, we don't have anybody like that right now. They're all fighting to try to get up there, which is great. But, I think the more you challenge yourself, the more you learn, the more you feel what that's like. I'm sure Jacorian's heart was racing a little quicker. He lines up there and he's, but that's you got to get over that. You know what I mean? Because week one, it's a bunch of guys that are going to challenge you. Week two, it's a different group, but it's the same thing. They're all really good players. And so the more you find out about yourself day to day, the more you ask of yourself, the more you challenge yourself, the better you're going to get. And I think he's mature enough, which is a word I've used a lot, to actually ask the guy on the other side of the ball, hey, what'd you see there? Did I give it away? And have that conversation. And so I think the fact that they're willing to have and engage in those conversations is only a good thing. It's going to make them better.
Josh, what kind of opportunity is this for the other backs with Jacobs not being there? And if he returns, would you like to see more of the carries spread out this season?
Everybody's getting opportunities. Obviously, the backs are all going to get opportunities in training camp. They did last year. They will always do that, because this is our opportunity to try to get them all, quote unquote, a foundation in our system and see what they can do and see if they can develop and improve. I think this is a really important time of the year for everybody in that regard. When JJ's here, I like I said, you go with what's the best thing to do for the team, and certainly that was him last year, and I wouldn't expect that to be different this year. But again, every game's a little different, every situation's a little different. The health of the team, et cetera. These guys all have great opportunities right now, and that's what they're focused on and trying to control their improvement day to day. And they're really working hard at doing that. So, and we haven't had a lot of looks at some of these guys. Like this is only our second opportunity with Britton. Our second opportunity was Amir. Sincere, had a couple good runs yesterday, and it's his first opportunity because he got injured last year. So, excited for these guys because every day there's something to learn from.
Just want to ask you real quick about Robert Spillane. We met with him on Saturday, and he seemed like he's just hungry to get out there and now put the pads on and everything. What have you seen from him, and how much better can he make this defense?
Yeah, I really enjoy being around Rob. I mean, he fits in really well with our group. He's a communicator. He's really tough. He's all about football, and he's a good leader. And so, you want that in the middle of your defense. We want to be a tough group. We want to be a smart group. We want to try to take the ball away as much as we can. And Rob gives us an opportunity to do some of those things and improve. And so I think his teammates really respect him. He's a really hard worker, adamant about trying to do things the right way. I think he's made a huge impression on our team so far.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, John.